it can be a bad thing if you let it. It can drive you to be in things and have to get yourself out of situations of that nature. And so that's how I kind of look at it. I think of hey, if the Lord wanted me to be there, it would have been a very smooth way to be there. I would be there without trying to cost the arm and leg and give up this and give up that. But
level up one tight, level up two tight, level up tray tight, level up with me, level up one tight, level up two tight, level up tray tight, level up with me.
Welcome back to another installment of Why a Think Tank. Oh man, we got so much content that I almost forgot the name of it. But hey, welcome back to another installment of Why a Think Tank. We're super happy to have you all here with us hanging out. We got the crew back with us, but we also got a special guest. And what you all would notice as we going forward in this season, we're trying to do more collaborations with other young adults at other churches in the Mid-South. Not just the Mid-South. If you're in Georgia, California, Timbuktu, wherever you may be, we're trying to bring more young adults to the think tank because it gives us a chance to have a more broad conversation. And hey, we got my brother in here, D, but I'll let him introduce himself and tell you what church he's from.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Dimitri Yancey. The church I go to is Reformation Memphis under the leadership of Apostle Brandon Clack and Pastor Christabel Clack.
They're really good people. Hi, Dimitri. So glad you're here. Hi, everybody. Nadia here. Y'all know what church I go to, but I'm glad to be back with my people. Let's have a good combo.
what's going on, y'all? It's Charles DeLoach III here. I go to Brown Missionary Baptist Church, 980 East State Line Road, 7200 Sweeney Road, South Haven, Mississippi. I don't know the zip code yet. I'm still transitioning from Chicago.
You've been here for over a year.
38617. Yeah, that's my zip code. So it's bad, but yeah.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Samaria J. I am back. Glad to be here.
And that shirt does not say I'm not lucky, but love. That's actually Jonathan McRae. The hood say you are love. That's her first book, right? First book?
Yes, one of
and I have one.
Yeah, first book?
Yeah, I have two.
She has a journal, too.
I got one as well. So.
Yeah.
You don't have to bring the book. You know how like they do on the Breakfast Club. Just sit it right there.
I'm bringing her. Y'all ain't noticed. I always got my merch on. You are a walking brand.
Yeah. I dig it, yeah.
We want you to be able to support your brand. And me, Floyd Trey Lee, also the young adult pastor here at Brown Baptist of Pivot Ministry. So super happy to have all y'all in here in this room. And so as you can see, the topic is a word that a lot of people might not be very what would I say, in tune into, but the word is called FOMO. It's an acronym for saying the fear of missing out. And that's what we want to talk about today. Really want to come from a personable standpoint, not just from a bird's eye view, but actually coming from us having the opportunity to have to walk through that whole process of what FOMO looks like in our own lives. So tonight will be a very personable conversation. So we want you all to interact with us in the chat. Please throw it all out there. Questions, just your experience. And hey, if you got to throw it the praise hands, throw them up, because these wonderful theologians in this room, they be speaking. So let them know, like, hey, God is talking through you and talking to me. So please do that for us. Stay encouraging them. But hey, let's get into it. FOMO, the fear of missing out. The thing about it is, I look at this thing right here as not just the fear, but I see it as something that when it comes to our generation, a lot of us are just trying to figure out, like, am I really missing out on things that are taking place outside of what's going on in my day-to-day life? And we can blame it on social media, we can blame it on all these different avenues, but I think it's also something more deep than just what's going on social media. I think it's something that we really have to go into the inner side of ourselves and have that conversation. So I just want to throw it out there real quick. FOMO, how have you dealt with FOMO? What has that looked like in your own life? And we'll go from there and kick that conversation off.
Who going first?
Sound like you volunteered.
No, I'm not. I'm feeling emotional today. I don't think I should.
Yeah, I guess I could go. I promise you, I was like, I ain't going to talk it early first, but FOMO is something I've dealt with and deal with.
Yeah.
I mean, as transparent as I can make this, I mean, FOMO drives a lot of my energy to spaces that don't need to be, where it doesn't need to be. FOMO drains me. It has drained me. in ways that I cannot imagine. And so it is definitely missing out on something like, it goes back to your root, and, this is something that I'm sure I'll deal with in therapy and counseling, but it goes back to the root of something. And I'm not sure for personally what it is for me just yet. I haven't really had a consistent basis of therapy. I've been to sessions and things like that, but I do know that the reason of me being the way I am and the actions and choices that I've made is because I don't want to miss out.
Right.
Missing out on this moment, missing out on this experience, missing out on this experience with people or this person in different scenarios. And so the fear of missing out, man, is huge, especially in this social media magnified it, right? Because, you see other people sharing things and posting it, and you're like, man, you cringe because you don't want to. Sometimes you try to stay off social media sometimes based off of the event because you like, I wanted to be there, but I couldn't. So I ain't finna see nobody's story or, you know what I'm saying? But in essence, I think for me, how I've been dealing with it is that if I wasn't supposed to be there, the Lord didn't want me there. If I wasn't there, the Lord didn't want me there. And that allows me to cope through it. But that's all I'll say for now. So,
no, but I want to ask you this question for you as you look at that, knowing that has driven most of how you move when it comes to, and I'm not going to say most, but majority of how you went about making certain decisions in your life. As it comes to FOMO, when you realize the balance of understanding, like if you're supposed to be there or not supposed to be there, you said basically that, hey, God, that you trust and believe that if God wanted you there, you would be there. But even in that moment in time, that human side of you is still
What's
that like?
It's still like it's a wrestle, it's a battle because the thought of me like wanting to be in that experience physically for whatever reason, it's a lot of different reasons you want to be in spaces. A lot of different reasons in your mind, and the truth of the matter is, there are most of the time selfish reasons, personal reasons. But I wrestle with it, but I have to continue to tap into the providence of God, and that's how I cope with it. But I do know that it's an issue with me because every time I'm like, there's something I want to be at, I'm gonna go. Like it was many times last year. I was transitioned down to Memphis from Chicago, and there were certain things that I probably didn't have to be at, but I was homesick. I was out here by myself. And so like I wanted to go back because I didn't want to miss out, one, but then two is like I just want to be around my people. And so, of course, it costs energy, it costs time, it costs unnecessary money, and I've spent unnecessary money because of FOMO.
Yes,
I've wasted so many. I mean, the bulk of a lot of debt that I've been able to encounter, and things of that nature have been because of I've tried to do things that I didn't need to do, but I just wanted to do because I felt like I was gonna miss out. And so, the fear of missing, I don't think there's nothing. It can be a bad thing if you let it. It can drive you to be in things and have to get yourself out of situations of that nature. And so that's how I kind of look at it. I think of hey, if the Lord wanted me to be there, it would have been a very smooth way to be there. I would be there without trying to cost the arm and leg and give up this and give up that. But man, and it can be big things and it can be small things.
Right.
Relationship things. It can be friendship things. It can be church things.
Ooh, that's why I want to stay right there. You just said it. There we go. Now let's take the lid out, because I was trying to see who I was going to catch first. But here it is. When you said the church thing, I believe when it comes to younger Christians, we wrestle with FOMO because as Christians, we believe we're missing out on things that are taking place. And so most of the times, so most times you see what we do in church and people say, oh, y'all trying to reflect what's going on in the world. But it's most of the times because it's not that we want to present the world or look like the world. It's just like, man, I see what they doing. But what can we do? Because most people believe young Christians can't have fun. And
that's a lie.
There we go. Ain't it a lie? Let's talk.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm playing.
That's a lie. Like,
We'll talk then.
No, we are not boring. We do not. Some do, but we're not wearing skirts down to our ankles. We're not doing all of that, y'all. We are having fun. You can have fun and still have parameters in which you just know your boundaries. It's not boring at all. Like, if you know me, I'm not boring, and I'm a believer. It's not boring at all. You can still live life. You can still enjoy the fullness of life that you're promised, that you are told that you're going to get once you all become a believer and declare the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. You're still going to have the abundance of life. Like, it's not boring at all. Now, are you going to have to give up the worldly things? Yes. That may not be fun, but I promise you can still have fun without having to do all of the worldly things that you did that honestly didn't fill you anyways, because you had to constantly keep doing it because you would run out. Your appetite never got satisfied. But in the Lord, there is fullness of joy. You will always satisfy. Every void will be filled. Like, it's not boring. I hate when people say it's boring, because it's not. Like, please stop thinking we're boring, y'all. We do, like, now, yes, we in church, but we... what they say at the Jonathan McReynolds, righteous and wretched. Amen.
Righteous and wretched.
And I know I've been talking, but she said something that I want y'all to be able to, because I've said it. I didn't say enough, but I've said a lot. I want to be able to share. But you said a lot of people say that it's boring. So the question is, like, for me, is like, well, why do people think that church is boring? Well, it goes back to theology and how it's being taught.
Yeah.
How the faith is actually being taught. And I think that the way that the faith is taught determines how you see it, whether it's boring or whether it's fun. So we're promised the fullness of life and life more abundantly. That's just not in heaven, but that is also something we can attain on earth. Right. And some people say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's a matter, I think, of theology and language and how it's being taught and presented.
And perspective.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Because you don't have control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
You can't do what you want to do no more. Mm-hmm. You actually got to be an example. You got to be a living sacrifice every single day. And sacrifice not doing what your flesh wants and actually operating who God called you to be. But that's okay. Yeah, I just gonna have to. Hey,
she like, look, I'm fun.
Hey,
Hey, truth be told, whether we admit it or not, FOMO has created some type of distance from some of our ages to Jesus.
Yeah.
Because of what they've been taught, or their parents or their surroundings was bashed by the church. Yeah. So now their perspective is what they heard or what they see their family going through. So if my mom was church hurt and it's all she bled out in the house, now my perspective is, why would I go to church? Because I heard my mother. If that makes sense.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
So instead of going to church, now you're filling that void with something else. And when you got church friends talking about, you should come to my church. No, I don't want to come to your church. So they don't have a fear of missing out on the church because they're all in the world. Now, as church people, some of us, like me, I struggled 2014 when I set my college, started preaching. I struggled kind of a bit because I was known as the club guy, going to the club, partying with everybody. And this one guy, I won't say his name, we still talk to this day. He was in my wedding and everything. This one guy changed my whole perspective of being saved and going to church. Mind you, he's a safe individual, but he was doing worldly things, right? He said, I went to his, one time, I got so mad at him because he invited me to his party and all that stuff. I was so mad. I was like, so, it took me a year later to ask him this question. I said, why you invite me to your party? He said, because I respect you enough. You accept your calling, so I respect you and I don't want to put you in their environment. And that whole conversation changed my whole perspective because you don't only see me as a brother, you see me for my calling. So now my fear of missing out changed quite a bit because I'm like, dang, if he could protect my calling, why I can't protect my calling?
So that
You changing the whole conversation.
I'm sorry.
Misha, come on now.
I like that because it bounces back on what,
much.
but it bounces back on what he said about if I'm not supposed to be there. And so even when you can't put boundaries on you, God will, and he will use other people to set those boundaries. Because there's plenty of situations where I wonder, like, God, why I didn't get that invitation?
Exactly.
And it's like, well, you ain't supposed to be there.
Exactly.
So therefore, don't look for an invitation. So, I always feeling like, I I got to show up, or maybe they don't like me, and it's not even that, because really it looks like a sign of disrespect because you didn't get the invitation, but it's really more so a respect to say, hey, I won't put you in that type of position because I know also God is setting that boundary, because I also go back to what we talked about last week. I know your triggers, I know your temptations, and because I know that, I won't let you come in a place like that. And so you have to be careful to have that mindset of understanding that, again, like you said, God won't allow you to be somewhere you're not supposed to be. He won't. Yet still, we still wrestle with the idea, I gotta be missing out. They having fun. They on live. They on IG. They taking pictures. They turned up. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody there that you
everybody there. But check this out though. Have you ever noticed why pastors always leave the wedding before the reception turn up?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever questioned it? Like, it's because they don't want to, even though they want to stay there, y'all playing the songs they like, but they have to leave because of the influence that we have.
Yeah,
100%. It's oh man, you bro, you've opened a world in what you just said, because a lot of our feelings of what we don't want to feel are disguised as God's provisions and sovereignty over our life.
Absolutely.
And in essence of missing out, that's the conclusion. It was like, it took a lot for me to get there, and it's still hard, but I had to sit and be like, if this what you want me to be, this is what you want me to be right now, all right, and I chalk it to that, but even in that, protect somebody, like people protecting, I used to feel like, oh, but I used to be so irritated. Be like, oh, you a preacher? You can't do this.
Can't do nothing.
You a preacher. And some people, like, I'll just be like, and they wouldn't know I'm a preacher, and but they just would treat me different.
Yeah, exactly.
And which is fine. But most of the times I used to be like, man, like, stop calling me. I'm a human being. But then it's like, you're right. Like, even though, like, some people are taught, like, oh, that's the preacher, they're taught, their mindset is always designated to that. They don't have a godly view that your friend had, but your friend provided you a godly view of the essence of, I hold you accountable as a friend because I respect your calling. But here it is, I respect my faith as well. Exactly. So because I respect my faith, I have to respect your calling. And then, man, if y'all ain't got no friends like that, man, no, you gotta fix something out. And I'm talking to the ones who are called. Yeah. I'm not saying, hear me out here. I'm not saying you can't hang out with people that are not Christians. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can't have friends that are not Christians. But if you do have people that are close in your proximity that are not trying to protect your call, and you're called to something, oh my gosh, I'm gonna tell you that it's not going to end well for you in the matter of your calling. And I think that is so profound. Shout out to your friend, real talk. Appreciate it.
I think the thing is, what we wrestle with is the idea that we think that we won't be influenced by something. So it's like, I can go to the party and I can go to this certain space and nothing is going to affect me. But it's even the thoughts that we have while we in that vicinity that could be a trigger to what happens next. And so, like you said, you got to have them friends that keep you from making those decisions. Because, like, I remember, like, so vividly back in the day, this is my best friend. His name is Lil Jerk Tavares Willis from Greenville, Mississippi. And, like, he was, like, one of the biggest gangbangers in Greenville. And literally, I'm like, I'm trying to be everywhere you going. I'm going. I wasn't about that life. I'm not John Morant. I wasn't about that life. My bad. I wasn't about that life, but I wanted to be around that life. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And one day he just tapped me. He was like, bro, you can't go. Yeah. You just can't go. Wow. He was like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to stay at your grandma's house. This one, you can't go. And that's when I started to realize that people are protecting me. Like, when we talk about angels, like, God is using people around you to keep you from going into certain spaces. And so it goes back to the ideal of, like, you're not really missing out on nothing. If anything, God is preserving you and protecting you from what you think you're missing out on. But it's something that came to my mind now. I was thinking about, you said presentation. I think the church does something that society does. We gentrify the church. Wow. So we make it look a certain way.
Talking about,
we make it look a certain way. So, and for those that don't know what gentrification looks like, it's like going into a neighborhood that's probably close to poverty, but they decide to, hey, let's bring these type of restaurants, let's bring these nice spaces in here, and we gonna make it look one way. But the people that's really hurting and that need to be in this space, they're not able to be within this place because they can't afford the lifestyle that's here. And so now when you come to the church, it seems as if everybody got it together. And so therefore, if you go that way or you go this way, you can't come up in here.
We can't afford the lifestyle that the Lord has given us. So.
Sam,
Listen.
So go on.
say it again.
One more time.
Roll your boat.
Like, we can't afford that. So, and that be my thing, cause please don't. Oh,
roll
this
your
is
boat.
my thing. Like, everybody has fallen short, and I know that's a cliche saying, but like for real, nobody is perfect.
Right.
That's why, like, even when it comes to people with callers and things, and people like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that, and he was a pastor. He's still a human being. He still has flesh just like you, and his flesh still wrestles with his spirit just like you. As a pew saint, as people would say,
Not a layman.
like, you know, like we can't afford this. So, my dad, not my dad, but he must be talking about me. Hey, Dad. My pastor had talked about this. I don't know if it was last Sunday or the Sunday before that. He was like, take off the mask and stop letting people think that we got it all together. The reason why we in the church is because we don't. Because we cannot afford to even breathe the next breath we about to breathe, which is why Jesus died. So it's not, you can afford it. If you feel like you're not welcome in the church, please come. That is why I got this shirt on, because I want y'all to know you are loved, you are welcome. You can come just how you are. You don't have the fear of missing out. It's a process. So yes, you still may be going to these places and things, but that doesn't make you any less of a believer than any of us sitting at this table, anybody with a title, anybody with anything. Okay, so you're welcome. The doors are actually open. So walk through, please. Amen.
And I hate to go here.
No, dude.
But we here.
Go there.
The church people. Okay, what you don't see is you see church people coming to church. You see us running around. You see us praising God, speaking in tongues, all that good old stuff. If y'all speak in tongues, I just preached how you see me dressed up and all that good old stuff, but what you don't see is what's hiding in plain sight. You don't see my pain. You don't see my struggles. You don't see my disappointments. You don't see my frustrations. So what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to our view on church people and how they judge everybody else, but what you don't see is what you're not showing, is what you're hiding in plain sight. You don't see my jealousy. You don't see my envy. You don't see this and that. So for the ones that's listening, come to church. Some of y'all that are church hurt, what is church hurt? It's people hurt. Because you got offended by somebody, or somebody did this, did that. I'm apologizing for them. I'm sorry that you was hurt. I'm sorry that you were disappointed. I'm sorry that they let you down. Because honestly, we don't have enough conversations about how people hurt people, or how people is hurting inside the church, and they have no outlet to talk to, or nobody, no resources to go through. And I think we need that more in church. We need more programs. We need more conversations like this. So the fear of missing out is causing people to miss church because of church hurt, because they're hiding in plain sight, because of the judgment, because they think you gotta look some type of way, the stereotypes. So I think that's
it's that presentation of showing you that as a church, as a believer, I'm not missing out on anything.
No.
But the truth is, just like, I'm still working through these things piece by piece, day by day, walk by walk, brick by brick, like it, because it's things I am missing out on, that I'm still asking and seeking God for. Like, it's healing. It's a healing process that I'm going through. And so, just to get back to the fear of missing out, so why I wrestle with FOMO, because the one time I didn't show up for something, somebody held it against me. And so since that one situation, I have tried to show up every time. Yet I've been stretching myself thin financially, but I've also stretched myself with time. And so time is something you would never get back. And I value time way more than I do money. I'm not saying you don't need money, but time means more to me because you would never get that back. Never. You can't get time back, and you don't know how much you got. Right? You don't even know how much you got left of it. You know, like with money, you can replace it, or you got a bank account that tells you, but there's no account that says this is how much time you got left. Ooh. So make the best of it. And I think because I didn't show up in them situations, now I'm trying to show up for everybody. But this is where I get hurt. Those some people don't show up for me. And so now I'm wrestling with it. But guess what? I still try to show up. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be available. But the truth is, spiritually, I'm so out of tune.
Mm-hmm.
This word reciprocity, we see it a lot of posts. You see a lot of people talk about reciprocity. And reciprocity is healthy if it's necessary. But a lot of people are running themselves thin.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to reciprocate a gesture that somebody did for you, because you may be friends, you may be connected, show up, and even though you don't have the finances, you don't have the mind, the space to be there, you're gonna be there because you know they're gonna hold that against you. And let me tell y'all something. Reciprocity can be very toxic.
Yeah.
It can be very draining if it's not with the right person. Those people should be able to understand if you can't make everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm speaking to somebody that's feeling obligated to be at spaces, because I'm that person as well. Like, I am that person. Like, I'm telling y'all, I've been freeing myself from just by saying I can't make it. One of my best sayings I've been saying this year alone, 2023, is if I could be there, I'll be there, and if I can't, I won't. And I can't. You know what I'm saying? That's just where I have to be able to hold that against. And because in essence, the reciprocity thing, people make you feel you're obligated to return this. Now, there are some situations where it is necessary. Mm-hmm. But man, some people like to manipulate through reciprocity. Yeah. And we have to be careful how we fall into manipulations of somebody because they did something. So we feel obligated to do that because they did it. No, you got to be understand. You have your own conscience and voice, and protect yourself. Now, I ain't speaking to somebody that learned it. I'm processing it as we go and as I go. And what's been freeing me is just the idea of I can't control people's feelings. I can show up and that person still feel some type of way about me.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? And I can show up and then they don't show up because they want to make a statement about something or whatever the case may be. And a lot of us are locked in this mindset of that, and being in spaces that we are not designated to be in. And that's one of the most dangerous spaces you can be, is in spaces where you are not supposed to be because you feel obligated to a person rather than just where the Lord wants you to be. And that's anywhere. And I pray that people get free from that, because there are people really running themselves thin to the dirt.
Yes.
Because you're trying to show up for people because you have the fear of missing out, but then you don't want them to hold this against you. Man, I almost said something on this. Look, bump that. Like, y'all free yourself from that, man. There are so many people in this world. There's a space for you where people you don't have to run yourself thin to always show up, because they understand what it means to show up every day in just life. That's very, 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 very manipulative for some people. And I'm talking to the masses now, y'all. I really want y'all to free yourself, because that's dangerous. That is very dangerous. So.
Hey, bro, you just said a lot, but that word freedom, man, that was the part that stood out to me, because what I realized as we talk about the fear of missing out, there is a freedom in learning that there are some people that you need to miss out on. Like,
now I can talk, because I've been listening the whole time. And this is a very emotional subject for me, because growing up, I never dealt with this. I've never cared. I'm not coming. No, I said no. I'm sorry. I'm asleep.
That's me now.
No, I'm not doing it. I didn't start struggling with this until I accepted my call. Until it got to, you're a female. There are places you may or may not be accepted into. And I had to struggle with it. Y'all, somebody texted me one time and asked me to preach at a conference. Sure, put me on the ballot. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Flyer dropped. I was not on the flyer. They never communicated, never said they changed their minds, none of that. I was livid. And rejection just set on me. I was like, I don't look like these girls. I don't sound like these girls. I don't have it. I'm not doing it. They don't want me. And in a world full of Sarah Jakes Roberts, I'm Jackie Hill Perry, and they don't want me here. And then the Lord told me, had you been there, you wouldn't have been able to operate in the fullness of who you are. It would have frustrated you even more. I kept you from it. I feel like, for me, I have now learned that I'm not a risk taker. If it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not going to do it. I don't care about missing out. If it don't calculate in my mind, I'm not going. If I don't have the gas, I'll see you next time. I'm just not going to do it. But it's a flip side for me to where I question now whether or not, because people tell me I'm selfish because of that, and I tell them I have boundaries. But I question whether or not I miss out on relationships because I don't always show up. So the fear of missing out for me is I don't really feel like I need to please you. I don't feel like I need to show up, but I'm also afraid of what I am missing out. Am I missing a relationship? Am I missing a conversation that I needed to have because I'm not vulnerable enough to go and meet this person? I'm so stuck to my boundaries to where I may not have an experience that I need to have because, no, I'm good. I'm not going to cross that line with you. I'm not going to go there with you. The conversations that I may need to have, the moments that I need to show up, and the opportunities where, like, even me being on Think Tank in itself, I remember telling Will, like, okay, I guess I'll come. And I've been here for a year and a half now.
That was
ain't left yet. You know, I mean, it so for me, it's, and I done got all off topic. I don't even remember what you asked me. For me, it's a backwards thing of I start to question whether or not I am missing out on what the Lord has for me by not having such soft boundaries with people. So for you guys, it's not enough boundary. And it's like, I'm just going, I'm stretching. And for me, it's like the door is locked. And now I'm missing out on things that could be fruitful in my life. So for the person who's listening, if you are terrified of making friendships, if you are scared to go back to church because somebody hurt you or somebody said something to you and they looked at you crazy or whatever the case may be, if you are missing out on the fruitfulness and the abundance of life and what love can provide for you because you are afraid of being vulnerable with other people, or afraid of being vulnerable with another experience or a place or a situation, there is freedom in you deciding to take another step. Like that, I can only express the ways that I have been fulfilled by saying, I'll answer the phone this time. I'll text back this time. Because usually I don't. I don't. Even when I met Pastor Deloach's wife, fiance, I'm sorry, Jewel is my friend. It's my girl. When I met her, I remember telling Gab, well, when you leave, I don't know if we're going to be able to be friends because Gab is my buffer. Gab is, yeah, and I'm just like, okay, all right. And I was like, I got to be friends with Jewel when you're not here. Like, I got to go talk to somebody when I got to go be. But I might be missing out on something. And one of the first serious conversations I had with Jewel, she blessed me and don't even realize how much she flipped my perspective about something I had been praying about for like 6 months. Wow. One sentence. And she was like, well, yeah, this is what the Lord told me about it. And that's just what I did. And I was like, had I decided to not cross that line, I wouldn't have got what I needed.
Yeah.
So... yeah. You know, some of us need to flex our boundaries more. Some of us need to be more serious with our boundaries. But I don't want us to miss out on the beauty of love and the beauty of community and the beauty of friendship and the beauty of righteous friendship. The beauty of having those who will support you and call you out and make you be accountable to, you know, to what God has called you to be. That You can be fearful of missing out on a lot of things, but don't be afraid of missing out on the good stuff.
And that's a blessing in that right there, because you just said a lot, and I'm glad you said it because you still tied it in. Because again, like I said, it's people that you do need to miss out. It's places that you do need to miss out on, but there are relationships and there are people that you should not let them pass you by. Yeah. Like, let me just be honest. I'm appreciative of the Deloaches. You know what I'm saying? Jewel and Chuck, man, I call him Chuck. You all know him as Pastor Deloach, but that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have that reference, like, hey, I'm big bro, little bro, but at the same time, we brothers. Right. And the truth is, me and Whitney, we're so thankful to have them in our life. You get what I'm saying? Because if I would allow myself to be like, man, I'm not where he's at, I would have missed out on having the relationship that I have with them. It's plenty of times where I want to show up every time he's preaching or every time he's doing something. But the thing is, he's the same brother that's going to be like, bro, if you can't make it, you good.
It is what it is.
When it's other people that will tell you that, but they really be lying. And if you don't show up,
They're gonna be mad,
upset.
They gonna hold it over to you. So
right? That's what I'm saying. That's somebody's daddy. Like, what you mean?
But see, that's the thing. I think people don't understand it. They don't see that. So I think some people operate in a mindset that like, hey, you know, you should be able to show up. But the thing is, that's why it brings me back to the struggle of, that's why I know FOMO has kept me in certain places. And then I would say this because we don't have that much time. I think ministry has brought FOMO out of me because there's been plenty of times where I realized, like, God, I ran from my calling from 2009 to 2015. That's what, 6 years I was running. So then I finally jumped in 2015 here, 2023. I'm like, God, what all did I miss out on? But what I'm realizing is, like, God is really showing me, like, you never missed anything. You didn't skip a beat because I needed you to stay where you were because by yourself, right? Like even in the running, I was still working with you. Even in the running, because at the end of the day, like you said, in a world full of Sarah Jakes, I'm a Jackie Hill peer. Man, I don't know what I am. I just know I'm here. Like, I don't even know how.
Say it again.
I'm like, I don't even know how I got here. Like, I don't even know how, you know, I got the call, but I do know I got the call and I accepted
and you answered.
And I'm thankful for it because I've met some amazing people.
Exactly.
But yeah, here we are. I want to just put that out there as we get ready to close, give everybody a chance to add to this. Just encourage somebody, because it's not only people that's in ministry, or it might be some people that are non-believers, but here it is. I want to put this out there real quick and we close it out like this. Help somebody that's right now looking for that ring and they feel like they're missing out. What about that person that's, you know, hey, you know, like, not even just the ring, but the ideal of being hey, I'm just trying to be honest, because somebody that's listening right now, they are like, man, am I missing out on am I missing out on what's going on in this mirror world? Am I missing out on should I be doing this job? Should I be doing this? Like, some people, they are struggling right now because they at an age where they're like, I'm 35, I should have been married, I should have had kids, I should have had a house, but here I am in an apartment still trying to figure out what my purpose is. And I want somebody to be encouraged tonight. So at least if we gonna leave this topic be, let's encourage somebody tonight that's wrestling with FOMO and didn't even know they were. We got 5 minutes. You guys got it. I'm gonna start it with you, bro, and we gonna bring it back around.
All right. My encouragement is for the ones that are just like me, that are victims of being celebrated, victims of having people to support them. Like, I hate being supported. I hate being celebrated. I hate being supported. I'm so serious. With that being said, learn how to be supported. Learn how to not be the victim and cherish being celebrated. That's all I got for you. God bless you.
Appreciate you, bro.
For those who say no all the time, just say yes. Say yes and welcome in the things that you are afraid of welcoming into your life, and watch how God will pour increase over your small seed of saying yes.
Yeah. To those young preachers in ministry that are trying to figure out the call, that are new to the call, you are not missing out on anything. Where you are is where you are supposed to be, whether it's a big church, small church, whether it's a different type of church and you're trying to be who you are. The Lord created you to be only you and nobody else. When you figure out your identity, you'll know what to miss out on and what not to miss out on. And be encouraged that there is only one you that walks on this earth.
Only one. And
what you miss out on was not meant for you. And if it was meant for you, it'll come easy. And I don't mean it like that, like it will easily come, but it will come in such a way where you don't have to stretch.
Yes, sir.
It will come alongside of whatever you're doing. And so stay encouraged, dig deep, pray.
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know what to say, y'all, but I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, but I really do hope that y'all got something from this episode. And like, for real, really set your boundaries, flex when you need to, and it's okay to miss out. Amen.
Oh, you really missing out though. Oh,
Right. Ooh, see, look at you. Now you getting
Hey,
started.
now you
All
finna
right.
preach
Because it ain't
something.
nothing but pictures.
You know,
That's all it is.
really.
Now,
That's all
what
it is.
See, we didn't even get to the social
Ain't
media
nothing
side
but
aspect
pictures.
of it because it ain't nothing but glimpsing moments.
This can be
Let me
a
tell.
three-parter.
I guess
I'm trying
it's,
to tell you.
Oh man, we got so many part
I
twos
know,
we can really
I
do,
know, I
and we
know.
really got everything else lined up for the
Yeah,
season. Like we really got
yeah.
some heavier topics to go in because
Yeah.
we about to go a little bit deeper. So all the Beyonce fans, I'm sorry. All the Kalani fans, I'm sorry. All the Summer Walker fans, I'm sorry. I
Baby,
promise you I
'cause
am
listen,
because
I got- you know I got
it's
something for
it's
that.
about to go down as we go
No,
forward.
nah.
But I promise you, it's gonna make sense when we get there. But my only encouragement to those that are listening that feel like they're missing out, there are some assignments that God has not called you to, and there are some assignments that God has called you to. And when I say that, that means don't be so much worried about the assignment that God has not called you to, but focus on the one that He has. Because I promise you, it's a mental and spiritual capacity that you have to be able to get there. And that's it. But you all, it's
Listen.
about to be the end of June, and we have the summer mixer coming up. We want every young adult to come out, come hang with us, come kick it with us. The summer mixer pivot worship night. We got Pastor Hollis Thomas from Rock City, now One City, Nashville. He'll be speaking. I forgot the special guest singer, but they say it's a special guest, so we're gonna have a special guest.
It's a surprise.
Just come hang out the summer mixer, come network, come kick it. Do yourself a favor, text pivot to 27636. But I appreciate everything that you all done. Drop some fire flames in the chat, because guess what, we're gonna do an after party, even if it's just me and me. We're gonna still have an after party, because I know somebody like, why we didn't have an after party?
Yeah.
We got an after party, so the link is coming. So guess what, you all, be safe, stay tuned, and we out.